Oh, we're good. Oh. Here we go. Alright, hey guys, Nick here once again, and this is going to be my video of why I feel you guys should purchase right now. Go out, just go to the store, go online, you name it. I'll have a link in the description, by the way. Go out and buy the Oculus Rift. Now, a lot of people are going to come out, maybe they're going to bash me, maybe they'll pause the video right now and be like, why would you get the Oculus Rift when you get the HTC Vive? The Vive is so much better, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Opinions. Facts. Opinions, facts. No, opinions. Okay, opinions first. Now, a lot of people think the Vive is better than the Oculus. In some respects, it is. And yes. But in other respects, the Oculus as well is better than the Vive. Now, facts. The Oculus is cheaper than the Vive. It's going for $400 US retail right now, and you get controllers with it. $400, basically ready to go out of the box. You get 2 sensors, 2 controllers, all the hookups ready to go, and then you just need to obviously download games on your PC. So you need a gaming PC first, obviously. That's one of the big things. But that's going to be for the Vive or the Oculus. You'll need a gaming PC no matter what. So I apologize for the guys out there that want to get one of these headsets, but you don't have the money to get a PC right now. You're kind of out of luck. Now, there is a third alternative. If you don't have a PC, if you want to get the PlayStation VR, that is a option. But the problem with the PlayStation VR is the resolution isn't nearly as good as both the Vive or the Oculus. The games are a lot more seldom because you have to deal with the console-only games. You can't download off your PC on your PlayStation 4. And lastly, at least in my experience, because I've had the PlayStation VR and I sold it to get the Oculus, it's a lot more cumbersome. I didn't like the design nearly as much as I like the design on the Oculus. It's just heavier. It kind of got your head a lot sweaty. And it's also locked at 60 frames per second, where these ones can go up to 90 FPS. So it helped a lot with motion sickness and fatigue over time. So using the PlayStation VR, I can only play it for about 30 minutes to 40 minutes before I kind of started getting that motion sickness feeling. Whereas the Oculus, I could play it for 4 hours straight and not have any issues whatsoever. Now, this does obviously depend on the person who's playing it, also the game you're playing, because I played like a roller coaster simulator. I lasted 10 seconds. Couldn't even handle it. I got sick to my stomach instantly. That's also because I'm afraid of heights. So it depends on what game you're playing and who you are, I guess, as a person, depending. So mileage will vary depending on who you are. But that being said, if you don't have a PC but you have a PS4, the PlayStation VR is a fine alternative. It works great for what it is, but you're going to run into issues like hand motion tracking is not nearly as good as it is on the Oculus or the Vive, especially the Vive. And you're also, like I said, it's going to be more heavy, and you're not going to have as broad of a game selection. So that's the PlayStation VR. Now, moving on to the Oculus, the one we're talking about today. The reason you want to get the Oculus is because A, it's $400. It's by far the cheapest alternative on the market for the best VR gaming experience you can get. It comes with the headset, which I have right here. As you can see, we have the full headset here. As you can see, these little dots here are the sensors, and then we have built-in headphones, which do adjust, and you can remove them if you don't want them on there. So if you want to use your own headset, you can. Where on the HTC Vive, you're forced to use your own headset that does not have built-in headphones. And honestly, they're pretty good. They're not bad. They are not bad whatsoever. I thought they'd be tinny. I thought they'd be kind of quiet. But honestly, you put this headset on and you can't hear anything around you. They're pretty immersive and they work really well. Haven't had any issues whatsoever with the headphones. So very, very nice. Also another perk, built-in microphone. You don't have to buy a separate headset with a microphone or have like a microphone set up like this or a lavalier mic. It's all built into the headset. I don't honestly know where it is in the headset. I'm guessing it's inside one of the ear cups, but it works, again, very, very well. They can hear whoever has the headset on very well, the people in the game, but anybody around you, they can't really hear, which is kind of a good thing. So if you have a lot of noise around in your room, it's not going to pick up any external noise. Only the person using the headset will be able to pick up their voice, which is pretty awesome. And then going to the back, we have the back sensors here, so it knows when you turn your head completely around, as well as it basically just hides in the back of your head. It's a very, very minimal design. It holds very well. It feels very sturdy on the head, and it has straps on all sides. So you have a strap here, which is just Velcro. So you open it up like that, you pull it tighter, and depending on how big or small your head is, fasten it that way. Same with on the right side, we have Velcro as well right here, and we have also a Velcro strap on the top. So if you have a shorter head, like that. So pretty much every person's shape and size, doesn't matter, they can fit on their head. It's a very, very nice, comfortable, snug feeling. By far the best designed headset on the market. I think this surpasses the Vive in a lot of aspects, because the Vive is a lot heavier. It's a bigger face mount. It kind of sticks out a lot farther than the Oculus does. And then as you can see on the inside, we have the two globes, or whatever you call them, which is how you see the game, essentially. They work really well. And it also has a little space from the bottom, so you have wider eyes. You can space it out if you have shorter eyes, vice versa. And the cool thing is, versus the Vive, the Oculus technically has two OLED panels inside of it, which display 720p on both channels, where the Vive is one single, I believe, OLED display. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't have the specs in front of me, so I could be wrong on this, but I do know that it's only one panel versus two panels on the Oculus. So technically, the resolution is better on the Oculus than the Vive, but anybody who's used both of them, you're not really going to notice any major difference. They're relatively the same. The biggest difference comes, in my opinion, in the controllers. Now, right here in front of me, these are the touch controllers for the Oculus Rift. Now, I personally enjoyed these, at least using these, a lot more than the HTC Vive controllers. I sadly don't have a Vive with me right now to display these controllers, but I'll have some pictures and some video as well in the video if I haven't already put it already. But essentially, I like these ones a little bit better because they have the sensor that goes around your hand. As you can see, this little like ring thing here. And the cool thing about this sensor is, yes, it's a design kind of thing. It looks really cool for a design aspect, but it's also a sensor in the fact where if you lift your finger off a trigger or off a button, it senses where your finger is. So what I mean by this is, in the game, let's say you have floating hands in a game. You're looking at your hands, and in the game you see your fingers and everything, right? And when you press a button, your finger will move because it's usually a button input displays what's happening in the game. Now, the difference with this sensor is if you release your hand or finger off the button and you're just floating into midair, it knows where your finger is, even if you're not touching any buttons. It's very hard to explain without actually showing you, but it's very, very cool, and it works really well. I've been very surprised. They have the same sensor with the analog stick, so it knows if your finger is hovering over the analog stick, as well as the buttons on the top. So it's very cool how that works. I honestly don't understand the technology 100%, but it works very, very well. Also, the tracking on the hands, extremely, extremely good, especially compared to the PlayStation VR, which I had, where it would lose my hands almost all the time if I went too far down, too far up. Obviously, this depends on your gaming setup as well, but knowing that you have two sensors, you have one on both sides, or you put one in front, one behind you, depending on your gaming room setup. I just have it set up in my room, so I don't have a whole lot of room, obviously, to move around, but I do have pretty much like a 6-foot by 9-foot area to walk around. And that's more than enough space, I guess, for these sensors, and it works very, very well. I can go all the way down to the floor. I can go pretty much as high as I can reach without it losing track of my hands or my head, which is pretty awesome. The only time I've noticed where it lost track is if I completely turned around, and I had the hands obviously like this in front of my chest, and the sensors are behind me. They're not going to pick up the controllers. That's the only time where I've lost any type of feedback from the controllers here. And that's saying something with only two sensors. And you can buy more sensors for the Oculus Rift, which is pretty cool. So again, $400, you get two touch controllers, you get the two sensors, and you get the headset. $400 ready to go. It's a very good deal in my opinion. And the games aren't too honestly expensive. Some games are $50, but most of them you're looking at $12 to $30 in that price range. And there's a lot of free cool tech demos as well that you can download through Steam. So Steam does work with Oculus. A lot of people, it's a misconception that they think that they have to use the Oculus software. That is not true. You can use the Oculus software, yes, but I personally just use the Steam software because I have a lot of Steam games and it just works more, I guess, more fluid. There is kind of a weird side step you have to do with the software. With the Oculus software, you have to go into the settings and turn on like use third-party manufacturers, something like that, and then you can use it through Steam. It's really stupid. You have to do that. It's not just right away ready to go, but it is possible. It's not hard, and you don't have to download any mods or anything like that. It's ready to go. It's just you have to turn that setting on. It's kind of weird. And I've noticed with some games, there's some glitches here and there with like the menus. So if you hit the menu button on the controller, it wants to go to the Oculus menu, which is fine and it works fine. But your Steam games won't show up in the Oculus menu. They want you to kind of buy it through Oculus themselves, which you can if you really wanted to. And honestly, they have pretty much all the same games in the Oculus store as you get on the Steam store. The only ones I couldn't really find were the Rick and Morty VR adventure. That's only on Steam, and certain other games like that. So that part kind of sucks. But Steam has their own version of a menu, a VR menu, where you can choose all your games and stuff, and it works really nice. It just sometimes I've had issues with it crashing and I had to restart my computer, but that could just be my setup. So take that with like a grain of salt. You know, it's not going to happen to everybody. It's just something I've noticed. But overall, the games work very well. They're very fluid. They look great. Sound, again, is very awesome. I haven't used my own personal headset. I've only used the headset that came built into the Oculus Rift, and I've had nothing but awesome experiences. Also, for any streamers out there or recorders, it's very easy to set up for streaming and very easy to set up for recording. It does take about a 15 to 20 minute setup process to get the perfect aspect ratio, because you kind of have to hit a setting to make it a mirrored image on your display. Now, 99% of the games will automatically display on your computer screen, so people who's in the room can watch what you're seeing or see what you're seeing, basically. But there are some games where you do have to manipulate it with a mirror effect in the preferences. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you can look up a tutorial, which I did as well. It takes, like, again, 10 minutes, 20 minutes to set up, and then it's saved forever. You never have to redo it, which is awesome. And it's very cool to set up for Twitch, and it streams very well. I never had any issues with my computer. But I do recommend getting a pretty hefty graphics card if you're going to be getting the Oculus or the Vive headset. They do need quite a lot of graphics processing in order to run at least fluidly to not give you motion sickness. So that is kind of a misconception that people can get a gaming PC and it'll work just fine. You do need at least a 1060 graphics card or higher, or if you're with Radeon, you're going to want a 390X or higher, depending on your setup. But overall, though, I've been very pleasantly surprised and very happy with this purchase. I mean, $400 is a lot to shell out for a VR headset, but I haven't been able to put it down since I got it. It's awesome. And again, the touch controllers compared to the Vive controllers, I just personally like the feeling of these a lot more. They're more ergonomic. They really just rest in the hand, and they're extremely light. The only downside is they don't recharge. They do take a AA battery that is under a magnetic door that's right here. It just kind of slides open. So you kind of press down right here. It takes a second, then it clicks off, and it's magnetic, so it kind of slides on for you, which is pretty cool. It takes one AA battery per controller. But what I've noticed, though, they're rated at 30 hours of playtime. That's quite a lot of playtime for a VR headset. Again, I bought this about a month ago now. I think I've had it for about a month, and these are still at full battery. And I've played this almost every other day since I got it for at least an hour. So that's saying something. The battery life is really, really good on the controller, so don't worry about battery usage a lot. You'll have to swap out the batteries maybe every 3 months. That's at least what I'm guessing. Maybe even longer than that, which is pretty awesome. So good on you, Oculus, for making controllers with good battery life. It just kind of sucks it doesn't have a built-in charger. I would rather have had that, but oh well. Again, the other downside is you do have to buy sensors. So it comes with 2 sensors out of the box, which for my setup at least has worked just fine. So having one run on the right side of the room, one on the left side, then angle them towards each other so you get a pretty wide angle view. But again, if you turn around completely, it's going to lose track of you. So that's one downside. I'd recommend buying a third sensor for $80. I think they're going for maybe a little bit cheaper now. Haven't looked at the prices, honestly. And getting one to go behind you. Or at least in the back of the room somewhere. So then it would get a full 360 view of you. Whereas the Vive, out of the box, comes with a full room's basically sensor. So you put them up in the corner of the room, and the entire room is now your VR sender. You never have to reset it up. You never have to recalibrate it. It's ready to go, which is pretty awesome. And that's one big advantage, in my opinion, of the Vive. You're going to get, by far, the best tracking out of the box, that is, with the HTC Vive. But I think even if you bought the $400 bundle with the Oculus and then bought a separate sensor, you're still technically getting a cheaper alternative than going with the Vive, and you can get pretty much that same full room setup. The only problem is you can't really mount these on the wall, sadly, so they're going to have to be on a stand somewhere, and you're going to have a cable running around the floor. So that's one, I guess, big issue with the Oculus setup is the sensors. But for what they are, if you're going to be doing a lot of sitting games, if you're just using it for getting into the virtual reality and you're playing with the controller, you're never going to have an issue at all. It's just for the games where you're standing up, you're moving around a lot, you're going to run into some tracking issues here and there by turning around. But for the most part, it works at least 90% of the time, which is very, very good. Whereas the PlayStation VR lasted, 70% of the time, 75 if I'm being nice. So yeah, overall, I'd say the Oculus is very well worth it. Highly recommended. I love it. I've done a few live streams. I actually uploaded some of them on this channel. If you want to go check out my other videos, I have a few live streams of me using the Oculus if you want to see some gameplay with it. Because I know I didn't put a whole lot in this video. It was mostly just me talking, and I apologize for that. But overall, very awesome headset. Check it out. I'll have a link to the Amazon link in the description below if you want to go buy one for yourself. I'm not getting commission for it or anything. It's literally just I Googled Amazon and found it. So it's just for me to help you guys out. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Just want to get this video out. It's letting you know my kind of personal thoughts on the Oculus Rift, if it's worth it or not. From somebody who doesn't have a lot of money but just wanted to buy a VR headset because I love VR headsets. I love VR gaming. And yeah, So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Let me know if you've purchased one or if you're going to be getting one or not. I would love to hear your opinions and thoughts. So that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like to show your support as always. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.